Welcome to the Mystical Journey podcast. I am your host, Hervé Geneza. This is where we investigate together whether it's possible to be completely free. I really wonder if we can trigger a permanent and irreversible change. And I'm referring to a revolution of the mind beyond all concepts, ideas, and beliefs. And I wonder if we can do this together with 100% sincerity and with no stones left unturned. Today's episode is about organized ideas and beliefs. When we were young, we were trained to be somebody, never being nothing. To be nothing is to waste one's life. Conform to an existing pattern is to be somebody, someone, something. But to be enlightened is to be nothing. Or really is to be not a thing. And to be not a thing is to be whole. To be existence itself. And from there, life as we know it, with full vitality, with all your senses, can actually begin. And from here, we can build a good society and be great people. I'm not really sure if you're really interested in this, or if this is just a dream or a stretch. But I really think it's there is a sense of urgency and truly uncovering all of it. If not, this life is not really worth living, in my opinion. Thinking. What is really thinking? I want us to go there and really tackle this idea of thinking, and also look at where maybe time or memories of the past and future that arise from thinking. I want to also look at the birth of all ideas, right? These ideas, these beliefs, where they come from, right? I want us to look at cultures, religions, nationalism, dogma, customs, and so on. And I wonder, in the end, by the end of this episode, if we can actually break from the pattern or not. Investigation is one of the highest form of intelligence because it gives you space to not conform to anything, which means you're always open to the limitless of understanding. Because when you jump to conclusions, then you're no longer investigating and questioning and inquiring. Therefore, you're done, and whatever you have found, you can cling on that. It becomes your idea, your go-to, your belief, your values, the thing that you live by, right? It becomes your secret formula of life. But what is thinking? What is this thinking? Please, we're not looking at this as in whether thinking is bad or good. We've already passed this whole duality that we're being torn or stretched from or by, between good and evil. Always have to take a stand. Always. What is thinking? I'm not referring to whether I'm not asking whether what we should think about, and I'm not asking whether thinking is good or bad. I'm just asking what is thinking, and I'm not referring to what we should think about or the best way of thinking. I'm just asking, what is thinking? And what is that thing that it's actually thinking, right? These days, thinking is pretty much out of control. There seems to be something that's always talking, almost like a voice, right? And is commenting about situations that you go through, right? And sometimes it's actually always visiting mainly the past to create a new future based on the past. So what is thinking? There is a thinking mind that has been talked about a lot. It has been called the ego. I like the word thinking mind, but let's not be too attached to the word. The thinking mind is the I. The I that is basically a collection of ideas. You have ideas about yourself, your height, your race, your gender, your experience, the thing you're good at, the thing you want to become. It's an idea. It's all influenced by the culture you were born in, your aspirations, the way you were educated, and things you want to become. And then what you think about yourself, whether you have confidence or not, self-esteem, and basically it seems to be a collection of these things. And this thinking mind, always commenting, is basically going through life almost ahead of you. It jumped to a conclusion about situations for you, right? It's almost like a reporter. It's always reporting information for you, to you, right? And it tells you a lot of things. Mainly, you'll notice that this thinking mind is always protecting you from something, right? If someone is against you, this thinking mind might warn you. It's also somehow telling you, it almost has been pre-trained, pre-programmed, almost like some sort of machine learning type of thing, in which is collecting data from that time you're born, and completely is creating a reality for you based on that data. And sometimes you can change those ideas, and sometimes you just go along with the ride. And this mind, this thing, this ego is thinking because it's making noise. It's making noise in order to distract you to something much more profound than thinking. And this ego has created this mechanism, not only because of the realm we are in, right? The physical realm, which is nothing but a more tangible or a dense spiritual realm, and it's because it has created all of that, because it lives in fear. The ego will never admit it to you, but it has created what we call fear that you feel in your body, right? Sometimes, there's all sorts of fear of abandonment, fear of loss, fear of not being loved, fear of not making it in life, fear of this. Ultimately, all those fears lead to one fear, the real core fundamental fear of all fears, which is the fear of death. This fear of death represents the end of all thinking, to be precise, the end of identification with the thinking mind. So it's only right, the thinking mind, that the thinking mind will never reveal to you why you're fearful, because it represents its end. It has to survive, so it has to occupy you with all these conversations, right? Always commenting, right? Always taking a stand. I hate this idea. I love this idea. I hate this person. I like this person, right? I'm going to become something, and I'm going to change and become better, right? Always this idea about evolving and getting somewhere, because of course the thinking mind is always stuck in time. It was born and will die in time, right? And is comprised of memories and data collected in this lifetime and the previous life, right? And it can never reveal to you that it has created fear in order to prevent you from realizing truth, right? Because this fear is not even your fear, because you, not the I, the divine, the unknowable, that which cannot be. So thinking is a mechanism that has to exist from the thinking mind, the ego, in order to prevent you to even have a chance or mental quietude to see through it. And because it has created things like fear, and then it's stuck in time, you'll barely ever actually realize that it exists. That's why you say, I am this person. I am a mother. I am a father. I'm a CEO of a company. I have this much experience. I believe. This is where belief comes from, right? Because the thinking mind has to cling on something, right? It has to cling on something. It has to cling on ideas. So the thinking mind that is stuck in time, which is a collection of memories that has created fear of that you feel, basically has to create something to keep you occupied. So therefore, the thinking mind has heard about these ideas such as transcending life, everlasting life, eternal life, and has created this idea, sometimes disturbed this idea, and created something similar as well, like heaven and hell, punishment, and then it became a religion, and then it has also created cultures, and customs, and it has created economic systems. It has created institutions. It has created school, the education system. The thinking mind has created every spiritual system as we know it, and has to create this because it has to create something you need to cling on, right? Because if you have nothing to cling on, you have to fall. When you fall, this is the beginning of life with full vitality, because falling is the end of all thinking. All right. And it's a collection of memories stuck in time that is also projected through the present moment and the future. The thinking mind can never, ever experience what they call the present moment. Or to be precise, it can never experience a presence. What it does, because it's stuck in time, it creates, it collects all this information and project itself into the present moment and try to create a future that's very similar. In the end, even if your past looks slightly different from the future, well, it's still full of ideas and concepts and beliefs, really. And if you really think about it, look at the past couple 100 years and 1,000 years, we haven't really changed much collectively, because we're creating the future based on the past. So we collectively have the thinking mind, and we keep creating things out of the past based on memory, right? Because to have an idea of something, it's not knowing it. So the thinking mind is the king or the queen of all ideas that are stuck in the past, projected in the future, including the present moment, and fears its end. The end of the thinking mind is the end of all identification, and the end of all identification is the end of all corruption and conflict. We cannot absolutely not create a good society with conflict and corruption, because the thinking mind gets in the way. It gets in the way with everything we create, including the health systems, all our ideas about freedom and equality and wealth and richness, and the end of poverty, the end of all everything we hate. It's an idea. So we hope that while living in this life, while you and I being in this physical body, we can end the identification to the thinking mind, in which all ideas have been created from. Absolutely all of them, no exception. There is absolutely no exception to any idea that wasn't created by the thinking mind. We're not against ideas, but we're saying these ideas, this concept, these dogmas, these systems, these techniques, as much as they help us function here, they're also very detrimental to enlightenment, to the real ultimate goal or purpose of what they call spirituality these days. And the list of all these ideas, all these concepts, will never end. Not only we'll create new ideas, but we don't understand how far we have come in terms of ideas, how much ideas we have created. Christianity, Islam, the mystical Christianity, Gnosticism, Hinduism, Buddhism, Zen Buddhism, mystical schools, the African culture, the East African culture, the West African culture, the European culture, communism, capitalism, equality, heaven, hell, dark, light. It goes on and on. There is absolutely no concepts that are not born in time. So that's why they always have to end. This is why it's hard to find anything that has survived the past couple thousand years. Now, the question I have is, are we able to break from this pattern or not? Is this still hard to understand? Or is it because we're so gullible that we jump from ideas to ideas, repeating the same cycle? Sometimes I look at the progression, if I can call that, of a person who was religious. May have been a Christian, and then one day they decided that maybe Christianity wasn't the way, and they jump into Islam because it's slightly different. It offers maybe a more authentic in their experience, a more authentic way. And then eventually they realize it's all the same thing. And then they jumped into other systems that are biblically related, like the Hebrew Israelites. Or they might jump into mystical Christianity, where there are a little bit less rules. But eventually they realize that as much as less organized it is, it's still ideas, are still concepts. There are still patterns that I have to conform to. And they might be interested in looking into ancient Egyptian mysticism, powerful esoteric wisdom from the pharaohs, and as much as it has offered the world a tremendous amount of wisdom, it's always misunderstood by the thinking mind, because it gets caught up with things, the non-fundamental things of these ideas, right? All this wisdom. In the end, even those who are into ancient Egypt mythology or mysticism, they're still trying to worship, harness, talk to, offer ritual to Atum, Amun, Ra, Ptah, Imhotep, Horus, Isis, Osiris. You name it. Just like the Hindus, the ancient Egyptian mythology has a pantheon, right? They have about 700 to 800 gods, they say. And all those gods most people can't explain what those gods are and how old they are or who created them, because it becomes a little bit less fun when we ask questions like, did the gods create human beings, or did the human beings create the gods? It cannot be one and the other. It has to be one or the other. This is very similar to Hinduism, which also has, I think, about 300 plus gods, right? Kali, Vishnu, Lakshmi, you name it. The number of gods are endless. Some of the gods are more important than others, depending on the period in which these human beings are involved in it, right? But in the end, barely anyone has an understanding what Krishna is, right? There are layers to it, some people say, but I'm saying, okay, in the end, no matter how much layers, no matter how much esotericism someone can uncover from any pantheon, it doesn't matter what it is, it all came to be through the thinking mind, because it creates these ideas, as powerful as they are, as effective as they are, as strong as they are, because we need to cling on them, right? The moment we transcend all these ideas, then we become what we already are. Really, the closest thing you can imagine is Buddha, right? The man who became awakened, right? Who became a light to himself. He's said to be better, especially in Hinduism, than all the gods combined, right? So why is he better than all the gods combined? Since he came at a time where there was Hinduism, right? He could have been maybe as close as the highest god, but you realize that all these gods are created by us, all these forms, right? And we're not against these concepts, but a concept is nothing but a concept, even if it works, even if it gives you the result that you want. Now, the question again, can we break from the pattern? or not, the pattern, right? But there is a world of pattern, right? It goes left and right, up and down, circle, has forms, geometrical forms, right? It has an end and a beginning. It has a dark and a light. Every god has its own female and male counterpart, and every god has his evil or dark counterpart, because they're all stuck in duality anyways. Just like us, when we are stuck with identified with the thinking mind, right? The thinking mind is always like, there's always a good side and a bad side, and I know some people say that we should balance it. I prefer the word transcendent. Transcend is detaching from the idea of dark and light, up and down, female, male, not on the physical level. If you're male, you're male on the physical level. I'm saying transcending that idea and and become a light to yourself, and then you can still function with full vitality and senses and completely alive and immersed in this realm, because you are tapping and walking divine essence itself, right? But the thing is, I don't think we actually even want to look at the idea of breaking free from the pattern. The reason why it seems almost hard to break free from, we don't understand the problem, the gravity of our conditioning, right? Even those who all call themselves spiritually advanced don't want to admit that in the end, all there is, it's about transcending all of this, right? So then we can actually break free even from the belief that there is a reincarnation, right? But we seem to be very happy about reincarnating, repeating a cycle. Even if you look at this lifetime, we're repeating a cycle, right? The first cycle is the thinking mind, right? We're repeating the same thinking. It's almost like a tape. That's a recording tape, right? It plays the same message. Sometimes the message is better than yesterday's, and there are happy moments sometimes, but most of the time, this life is nothing but a cycle, and it has maybe a few times in which people are a little bit more content, but people are not fulfilled. They're not fulfilled because they're in conflict. We are corrupted by the thinking mind. The thinking mind that needs to survive, right? So imagine if you're a creator of the maze, but you also have trapped yourself into the maze. So you are a maze runner in your own maze, right? But you made sure that you would never find out that you could actually get out of the maze. So you keep running, right? Looking for an exit, because the trick of this whole maze creation is that you never realize that you cannot be identified with the maze runner and ever escape the maze. It's impossible, but you'll always get a sense that you're getting somewhere, right? So you turn left and then turn right, and then you feel like, oh, this is it. I think I'm actually at the end. I can see the light. Then you get close to the light. If you ever get to close to the light, then at that point you realize it was a smoke mirror. It was just an illusion, right? So we jump from illusions to another illusions, and then we keep repeating the same cycle, right? We keep saying that we found a way, right? We found a way, and then so because we are not detached even from the idea of finding a way, every way that we found is still a trap. It's such a easy to miss type of thing that's why no matter how much dimensions we say we go from when we evolve spiritually no matter how much chakras we talk about, and they're real, no matter how much level of consciousness or level of awakening we talk about. Those are as real as they are, as powerful as they are, they're still another level. But enlightenment is transcending all levels. So once you get maybe to the 12th dimension, well, you realize there is another dimension that has never been talked about, right? And then you realize there are much more chakras than we thought. So the idea is to transcend all ideas. So can we break from the pattern? The simple answer is, why don't you observe yourself within this pattern? Don't comment, don't judge, don't try to fix anything, and just simply observe yourself. This physical body, this thinking mind, and let it be. And then once you observe and you listen to it without trying to change it, you start losing some pulling power, because the thinking mind has so much pulling power. And then when you just observe it, you're not getting caught up in it, you start losing power. This is where people start feeling this mental quietude, this peace that really doesn't really matter whether things are good or bad, right? When the thinking mind loses power, you have all your awareness complete aware and present, then this is when detachment start happening. True detachment, in which you're not actually concerned with anything. Being concerned about anything is of the thinking mind. So that's really what these organized ideas and beliefs and cultures have done, right? Is to create a pattern in which you have to conform, because to conform is to actually to block yourself from that which is completely whole. What is whole has no pattern. From the wholeness, patterns are born, right? But we want to observe the world from wholeness, right? Hopefully this helps us to observe, listen, understand, and detach all at once instantly. Yes, with no guidance, no instructions, no need for authority or guru or anything. Thank you very much for listening to the Mystical Journey podcast. Please like, subscribe, and share this content so you never miss the next episodes. These audios will also be available to the podcast, which is and also we are working, just like I mentioned last time, on a few health products that helps with mental clarity, with better sleep, that makes the everyday life much easier, brings a lot of easiness. Thank you very much, and I see you next time. And next time I would like to talk about something that might be a little bit more disturbing. It's whether we need a guru. I really want to know if we need a guru, an authority, right? I wonder if there is an authority, right? Something we need to answer to, follow, or get instructions from. Or is it a lie? Because there's so many gurus in this world. There are so many that came from the East, with their Eastern philosophies. There are many that came from Africa. There are many that came from all over the world. They all have something to teach, right? So I wonder if, for those who are concerned in being the light to themselves, to be completely independent and break free from the self-created maze, I wonder if we really truly need a guru, or is it someone who's imposing themselves, their illusions on us? Because in the end, if a guru, all gurus should be referring to something that you already are. Oh, I wonder if you can be your own guru, right? You can be the teacher, the student, and you can get understanding from all of this by yourself with no instructions, because instructions means there is invite corruption as well, right? So this is why we prefer investigating and inquiring rather than jumping on conclusions, and we do it together. So let's look into it next time, and whether we can find out if we really need a guru or not. And if we don't, and we've looked at everything, then it's time to let all the gurus go, including myself. I'm not a guru. I cannot be a guru, and I'm coming to you as nothing, but at least as a friend talking to you. I'm inquiring and observing and questioning things, so you and I can truly be free. Thank you very much. Talk to you soon.